Hello, and welcome to my Movecraft tutorial. Movecraft is a plugin that allows you to make and build ships, and then sail those ships as though it were real life. Not default Minecraft boats, but actual ships, like this one. It's really a wonderful plugin, and the devs do great work on it, so I totally recommend checking it out for your server, or joining a server with Movecraft, such as mine, the link to which is in the description. Now, the first thing you need to do when starting out with Movecraft is actually making your ship. This isn't a hard process. It doesn't have to look good. It just has to work. In fact, I haven't seen a single new player ship that looks good. Now, to get a ship to work, you need a certain amount of 2 blocks, wood and wool. Without enough wood or wool, your craft will not be able to move, and you won't be able to pilot it at all. You'll just get an air message when you attempt. Now, as you can see, this ship does have enough wood and wool, so I'll walk you guys through how to pilot and control a ship. First thing you want to do is make a pilot sign. Now, this sign depends on the size and type of ship you want. If you're making a starter ship, which I call a skiff on my server, then you would type skiff. But, as you can see, this ship is too big to be classified as a skiff, so you need to classify it as a ship. The next sign you want is a helm sign, made by typing bracket helm bracket. If the plugin's installed correctly, once you exit the sign creating interface, it should make the shape like a wheel. Then the next sign you want is a cruise sign, made by typing cruise space off. Then the final sign you want is a release sign. This allows you to actually leave the ship. So you pilot and actually start controlling your ship by right-clicking your ship sign, your pilot sign. This puts you in command, and it picks up all the blocks that are a part of your ship and recognizes them as blocks that are able to move with the ship. Now, your helm sign, it allows you to turn. Right-clicking turns you right 90 degrees, and left-clicking turns you left 90 degrees. This is really nifty, because otherwise it would be a pain to get some places, or it would just look really dumb. The cruise sign is almost necessary. Not really, you don't need it, but at the same time you want it, because right-clicking it allows you to toggle movement. So when cruise is set to on, every so often your ship will move. Now, you can configure how often the ship moves and how many blocks it skips when it does in your Movecraft type configuration, which is really nice, as you want every ship to be a little different. You want to give your players reasons to use different ships. This final sign, the release sign, just undoes everything the pilot sign does. It takes every block that's recognized as a ship, every active block, and makes it unactive. So, for example, you yourself while piloting cannot break any blocks. It'll give you that message. But once you release it, you can. Now, Movecraft is very configurable. You can change the ship names, the ship types, how often, how far they move, and even what the ships can be made out of. On my server, you need a certain amount of wood and wool to move, but you can configure Movecraft so that you don't need a certain amount of any block. You can just go. which is nice and adds a lot of depth to the plugin and allows you to make it even deeper on your own. Now, in Movecraft, every ship type is different. For example, skiffs, the smallest on my server, can only carry 2 chests, which means they aren't that good for trading, or really anything, as you want a good amount of storage on your ship no matter what you use it for. As if it were a warship, you'd want to store gunpowder and TNT, and if it were a trading ship, you'd just want room to store your goods. Ships can carry dispensers, while skiffs can't, which makes them better for war. Brigs, the biggest type, and what this ship is right here, can carry dispensers, but their amount of chests are limited. Not as much as a skiff is, they can carry a lot more than 2. But it's limited to a certain percentage of your total ship, so you don't carry too many. This makes it so that you use different types of ships for different things, to keep things even and balanced. There's deeper layers to Movecraft than just ship types though, which are all easily configurable. There is a bit more to movement as well. For example, as you can see here, I don't just have crew signs facing forward, I have them on all 4 directions. At least I do now. This means that when your ship is piloted, you can toggle movement in all 4 directions, which is nice. Say you're fighting another ship and you want to move, but you want to keep your cannons aimed at them. That makes it easier to do so. Aside from being able to move in all 4 directions with crews, you can also hold a pilot tool, which is configurable. On my server, it's set to a stick. And right-clicking with a stick will move your craft 1 block at a time, which is nice, because brigs and ships especially skip a huge amount of blocks, and this would make it great for docking, as you don't just want your ship like 70 blocks away from your base. You'd want it closer in case you need to get there fast. That's about all there is to advanced Movecraft movement for ships. But there is something else. Something that's a part of a different plugin, but is fun. And I have on my server, and if you have Movecraft, you should have this plugin on your server too. This plugin is simply called Cannons, because that's all it is. It just adds cannons. Now, to make a basic cannon, all you need is 3 black wool, a stone button on each side, and a torch. The torch you want on the side that the cannonball won't come out of. You'd want it on the back. Now, if you build this correctly, and the plugin's installed correctly, you will get that message in chat. So, if you want to fire it, you see that you have to buy it first. This makes it so you can't just have an infinite amount of firepower with no additional cost. You can configure the cost on your server, or if it costs anything at all, which is great. It allows for expression of what you want for your server. I try to keep things a little more balanced and a little strict on mine. Now, the cannon's still not ready to fire. You need a certain amount of gunpowder, and you need a cannonball. Each cannon can only carry a certain amount of gunpowder, and it is different for each type. A normal cannon and iron cannons, which are that type, made by using 2 iron blocks instead of 3 black wool, each can hold 3 gunpowder. You can give them less, which will give your cannon a less sharp angle. It'll make it fire closer. but if you give it more, it could blow up, which could cause serious damage to your ship. So once you load the gunpowder, just right-click on the cannon with your desired cannonball. I'm using cobble, as that is, as you can see, the basic type. It's just a normal cannonball. On my server, there's cobblestone, which is a normal cannonball, TNT, which is a cluster bomb, so whenever it hits, it will spawn another TNT on the ship or object it hits. Diamond, which is a hardened cannonball, which packs more of a punch than cobble and also starts fires, and melon seeds, which is grape shot. Grape shot does no damage to blocks, but almost instantly kills any player, which is great for defending your base if you are good at aiming with this cannon. Once you've loaded the cannon up with gunpowder and a torch, you want to aim it. You can do this by right-clicking on the top of the barrel, which will make your angle go up. Shift right-clicking it will make it go down. And right-clicking on either side will make your cannonball go in that direction. This can be a bit tedious and is not intuitive at all for ship fights. So, there's an auto-aim feature. Simply right-click on your cannon, hold in a clock, and hold shift. As you can see, wherever you look while holding shift, your cannon starts to aim there, which is great, because this means that it's a lot more feasible to pilot a cannon by yourself. So once you've aimed, all you gotta do is right-click the torch, and it will fire a cannonball towards wherever you're aiming at, dictated by this glowstone. Each cannon has a different type of angle and a different setup. For example, there's a mortar cannon made like this. 2 iron blocks, an iron plate on top, and a torch on the back side. Now, every cannon that isn't a default black wool cannon has a different angle, and every cannon that isn't a horizontal cannon has a different way of aiming, period. Now, an iron cannon, when you first make one, you also have to buy it. I have it set so that every cannon is set to the same price on my server, but you also have to clean the barrel, otherwise it won't be able to fire. Then you can load up your gunpowder and projectile, aim, and fire to your heart's content after you push it with a stick. This makes it so that these iron cannons, which pack a bit more of a punch and can shoot a lot farther, as you can see, are also slower, which makes it more balanced, so it's not a direct upgrade. These mortar cannons are really nifty, although I believe that they're harder to use. You have to buy them the same as you would any other cannon by doing /cannonsbuy. You have to clean the barrel, load it up. Now be careful, mortars only take 2 gunpowder, not 3. You don't want to get in a force of habit of loading 3 and then accidentally blow yourself up. Then you push the projectile, and as you can see, mortars aim vertically, like mortars in real life. Right-clicking on the front and back, change the angle. So right-clicking on any plane of this cube puts the angle of aim in that direction. There are still limits, as in you can't just turn backwards, so it still is fair. These are a bit harder to aim, because it's not as easy to know where you're going, but they're also super fun. But you don't want to aim too steeply, as you could hit your own ship. You also don't want to break a cannon when it's loaded with gunpowder, as it will explode on you. So if you decide that you've placed a cannon in the wrong spot, you want to make sure it doesn't have anything loaded before firing it. And that's really all there is to cannons. In addition to there being ships that sail on the water, there are also airships, which are really nice to have, because with normal ships, you have to stick to the water. But with airships, you can go anywhere you want with reckless abandon. Controlling an airship is pretty much the same as controlling a ship, with a few more restrictions. Where ships need a certain amount of wood and wool, aircrafts need a certain amount of wool and redstone. Now, the redstone has to come in the form of redstone blocks. These redstone blocks represent engines, represent what allows you to actually move, and the wool is lift. Now, actually moving an aircraft is pretty much the same. You have your pilot sign, which just changes what you type on it, your release sign, your cruise sign, and your helm. But there's also two new signs, ascend and descend, which allow you to toggle auto movement up or auto movement down, which is nice because it makes it so that you're not just stuck. Like, if you built an airship in a valley and it looks high up, but you get to a mountain and you're blocked, you don't have to go around, you can just go over it. Which is great, because otherwise there would be no real point in using airships. As on my server, the mountains can get pretty high, and can extend for long distances. In addition, aircrafts need a certain amount of coal. You do this by putting a furnace on your ship, and putting either coal blocks, charcoal, or coal in the furnace. And every time you move, your Movecraft will automatically take a portion of this block from the ship. Which is nice, as you... every time you move, Movecraft will take a certain amount of coal or fuel. It's configurable in the config, so you can make certain types of ships take a lot more fuel, but be more powerful, and able to hold more cannons or more chests. So it will take that fuel and just get rid of it. So with the additional cost of redstone and a lot of fuel, aircrafts are more pricey to design and make, but they are also well worth the effort of having one, as your movement suddenly becomes unlimited. That's really all there is to controlling aircrafts. The limitations for ship types are the same as they are for ships. An air skiff can only carry so many chests, while an airship can carry many. There is no air brig, but that's about it. Everything else is the same, aside from needing different block types. Now, there's one more thing that doesn't really belong in any of the sections in this video, but is still nice to have, and that is a turret, like this one. Turrets allow you to place and build something on your ship, and move it without turning the entire ship. Now, they stand in place, so you can only turn left or right 90 degrees, but it's still wonderful, because it allows you to have a cannon that you can aim without turning your entire ship. This helps reduce lag, and makes it so you can aim faster, and aim at the same time as moving. You make a turret by simply typing subcraft rotate on the first line, and turret on the next. You don't really need anything special to make a turret. You don't need to put a cannon. It just needs to have a certain amount of blocks. You also want to make sure that the blocks a turret uses are set correctly in your craft files. Now, I don't know the whole configuration area as well. It took me a bit of trial and error to figure out. But I know that if you have nether brick matched with plain stone brick on my server, like this, it allows your turret to move and turn without picking up your entire ship and moving it, which is nice. As you can see, right or left clicking on the sign does the same thing as a normal helm, it just picks up the turret alone, which is great. And if you are inside the block limit of the turret, it'll move you too, which is nice. This allows you to turn and fire really easily, and is just nice. Now, a turret doesn't need to look like this. I just think that this looks super cool. This design is my own, but it is inspired by a lot of the designs used by the original dev of Movecraft, Bakayaro. He has a lot of tutorials for the more niche things of Movecraft, and while some of them could be outdated, a lot of them aren't and are still great to know. So a link to his channel will be in the description. Now that's really all there is to this video. Thank you for watching, and if you don't come on my server, I hope you install Movecraft for your own, and just have fun with it, because really, it is a truly fun plugin. So thank you, and goodbye.